Hello and welcome. I am Raghav, and in this session we are going to start and write our first Pytest in our Playwright project. This is going to be very easy and very interesting. So we will see what is a test in Pytest, what function we can call as a test, or how do we create a test in Pytest, and then we are going to write a Pytest function or a test in Pytest line by line. So here I am going to write the code line by line and explain each and every line, so that whenever you write your test, or whenever, even if you get the test auto generated maybe from an AI tool, or you get your test from any online resource, you should be able to understand what is happening in the test. Okay, and then we will run and verify. When we are running, I will show you all the options that we can have in the pytest command, like how can we get the screenshots, how can we record the videos, how can we generate a report file, uh, how can we run in a headed mode or a headless mode of the browser. All that we will see. Okay, so do not worry if you are a complete beginner. I will tell you each thing step by step, and we are going to start from scratch. So let's get started. Now let us first see what is a test in Pytest. So whenever you create a function and the function name starts with test underscore, it will be considered as a test in Pytest. So if you create a function which has this name, the test underscore in the name, and when you run that Pytest command, even if you do not specify a particular file, it will take all the functions with this name from the file, or even the file name should have this. So it will get all these files, it will consider all these files as test files, the pytest command, and run those files. Or we can also specify which file we want to run, and it will run all these functions having test underscore in that file, and will be considered as test functions. Okay, in a moment we will see how we create these function, but this is what a test is in a pytest. So a test in pytest is a function whose name starts with test underscore. Okay, and pytest automatically finds and run these functions when you run the pytest command. Okay, let us now see how do we write a pytest function, and we will write it line by line, and I will also explain it. Okay, so step number one is, in our project we will first create a folder named tests. Now this is optional, you can also directly create the files under your project folder, but it will be good if we keep all our test files inside a folder, and we can call the folder as tests. So let's do that. I will open my VS Code, and if you are using VS Code, you can open that, or if you are using any other IDE or wherever is your project, you can go to your project. And in the earlier sessions we have already seen how do we create the project. So I am starting my project. I have opened VS Code, and this is my project folder here. Okay, this is what we have been working on. So here I will click on here to create a new folder, and I will call it as tests, and hit enter, and you can see we have got the folder created here. Okay, now inside this tests folder we are going to create a file, and the file name should have test underscore, and then you can write anything, and it should have extension .py. So let's say I will create a file called test underscore google.py, and you can do hands-on along with me. Whenever you face any issues, you can let me know in the comments or Q&A section. I will select this folder and click on this new file, and I will say test underscore google.py. Okay, and we can see the file is created and opened here in the editor. All right, now we will start writing a simple test line by line. Now here, some people may say that why we are writing the code ourselves, and why we are writing it line by line, where we have so many options today. We can take help from online resources, or we can also use any AI tool to directly generate the code for us. And yes, we can use those options, and I will show you those options also. However, for now, let us first understand the code, so that later on, whenever you see the test code, or even if you get it from a AI tool, or get it from any online resources or any project, you should be able to read the code, understand the code, and know what is happening here. Okay, so step number 4, let's start from here. Step number 4, add import statements. Now here we are importing these two libraries. This will help us for regular expressions, okay, and I will show you how it helps us. And here we are adding the expect keyword for verifications. Okay, so let's first do this. I will here say import RE, and you can see I'm also getting these auto suggestions. Also, if you see, it is showing me a sample Pytest function as well. So if you press tab, it will auto generate all this function. And in case it's not showing for you, that's fine. If you're using any other IDE and you don't see this, that's fine. It may also be taking this from an earlier file or function we have created, but that's fine. You can press escape to close the auto suggestion. Okay. After that, I will say from playwright dot sync underscore API import expect. Okay. So I'll say from playwright, and here also you can see I'm getting the auto suggestion. Now here don't sync API, and you can see as I'm pressing tab, it is also auto completing. I will say import, and here I don't want this, I want expect, and I will get this. Okay, and I'm pressing escape to close the auto suggestion. So as of now, we have added these import statements, and here RE is for regular expression used in title check. Now, just don't worry if you don't know what is regular expression. You can also, if you want, go to my website, and I had written a story on this, a story on regex sometime earlier, and yes, it is here. So just for your knowledge, it will be very interesting to understand what is regex. It's a conversation between Mickey and Minnie. So it will actually be very interesting to understand what is it. So basically we want to do matching of characters using regular expressions when we are verifying some text, and then expect gives us the assertions like page should have this title, etc. Okay, so we can directly use the expect command and do our assertions or checks. Now next step is we will write the test function, and as we have understood that in Pytest the test function or the function name should start with test underscore. So I will say def. So def is what we start for a function, and I will say test underscore Google search. Now in my case, the reason I may be getting these auto suggestion is I had earlier also tried creating this function. So that's fine. If you get this, it's okay. Otherwise, you can press tab and use this auto suggestion, or press escape and close the auto suggestion. Okay, I will just for now remove this as I want to type it myself. Okay, so def test underscore Google underscore search, and page is what we are taking as an argument to this function. And here this is one feature of using Pytest, that we can directly use these fixtures like page. Okay, so page is automatically injected from Playwright, and using page we can do browser actions. So we get a browser page, and now it will be possible to do all the browser actions using this page fixture. Okay, so you can see this is possible because Pytest Playwright provides a built-in page fixture. Okay, and we have understood about this in the earlier session as well. So we have done step number 5. Now let's do step number 6. Here we are going to navigate to Google, and sometimes when you go to Google, you can see a kind of a pop-up. If I show you here also, maybe I may be able to show you. I will try to go to Google here, and sometimes we get that. Yes, you can see some pop-ups here, or maybe to select a language, sometimes you get that. So here, to handle that, we are going to this www.google.com/ncr. Okay, ncr stands for no country redirect. So sometimes if you're using Google on your, it may redirect to the local country and then add that particular language of that country. So in case you don't want that, you can add this ncr, and here this loads Google without regional pop-ups. Okay, so sometimes we get a regional pop-up that do you want to use this language, or some other accept some things here there. so you can avoid that. Okay, so let's say page.goto. So, and you can see now we can directly use the page fixture. We don't have to do any kind of setup. I can directly say page.goto, and you can give the link here. Okay, and here I will say /ncr. Okay, and also here you have to make sure that all this should start after some spaces, and it will directly take the space when you are here. When you are here, your cursor is here, and when you hit enter, it will directly take some space, and that means all that which comes after some space will be a part of this function. Okay, so this is how it creates a block or identifies a block in Python. So we don't have any bracket, start bracket and bracket like in Java, but we have this space concept here. Okay, so this is done. Step number 4, 5, 6 are done. Now next step is, in case we get a pop-up, we can also add this try and accept. So if we don't get, that's fine. So we will say try. I will say hit enter and say try, and I will say here page dot get by role, page dot get by role, and I am also getting this auto suggestion. Let me see if this is what I need. I am saying button name and then click. So I will say here, and I can also press tab, and here the button name I will say here name accept all, and we will click, and we can also add a timeout here. So whatever timeout you think is okay can add here, and then in the accept block I'm just printing. That means if this does not come up, okay, there is no pop-up, I will say print and no pop-up to accept or whatever you want. Okay, so here this is a try and try and accept block, and that means that if this is there, it will accept the pop-up, and if it is not there, it will just come here and print no pop-up to accept, and then continue with the rest of the test. All right, so now after this we have seen this. Google sometimes shows a cookie pop-up, and if it is there, it will click on accept all, and if not found, it will skip with the message. Step number 8 now here is, we have to type something in the search box, that is the Google search box. So here I'm saying page dot get by role. So if I say page here, you can say page dot, you can see a lot of options. We have go to, click, close, etc. So you can see a lot of options you will get here. I am saying get by role, and here combo box with the name search. Okay, this will be a combo box with the name search, and there we are going to fill something like Playwright Python or whatever you want. Now here I will also show you later on that we can do recording of all this. So it's not that you will have to, you know, get the locators of every element and then add it manually. So you can see, if I go to Google, this is a search box. I can do a right click and say inspect, and here you can see a lot of properties. So this is a combo box, okay, and here you can see all its properties. Okay, so using these properties we identify the object, and then we can do any action on the object, but we have option to do recording, which we will learn in the coming sessions. Okay, after this, so this is step number 8, which finds the search box and then fills Playwright Python. And now step number 9 is, we can either press the search button, or as we normally do, we type something in the box in the search box and hit enter. That's what we are going to do here as well. We will say page.keyboard.press enter. Okay, so I will say page.keyboard and I'm getting auto suggestion, so I will just press tab and complete this page.keyboard.press enter. Okay, you can also keep saving your work. So this will simulate keyboard pressing enter. So we are done with these steps. Now the next step, step number 10, is after hitting enter we will verify the word playwright, and for this we can use the expect keyword or library. So we have already imported this expect, so I will say expect and I will say page, and then we can see if you press dot here you can see a lot of options we have here. Now here we are saying to have title, so I will say to underscore have, and I will use this one title, and this is what we are checking. So I'm using regular expression here, therefore we are saying re.compile, and then we are saying playwright, and I can also add here ignore case. So again this is coming from the regular expression, we are saying re dot ignore case. So that means we don't want to check the case whether it is playwright in lowercase, uppercase or a combination, everything is okay. We just need to check that it is there on the page, and if it is not there it will fail the test. So it is kind of a accession for the test. Okay, so this is our test. Now you can see this is our test and this is how we have created it, and we have already added the accession using the expect. Okay, and we can add some more options, like you can say page dot wait for timeout, and you can add some timeout at the starting. So before we go here you can also say page dot timeout, so you can say wait for timeout and add some whatever seconds you want. So this is in milliseconds, 1000 milliseconds equals to 1 second, so you can put whatever wait time you want, like wait for 3 seconds to ensure page is fully loaded, and then we navigate to google.com. Okay, so these wait out timeouts, wait statements you can add. You can also add page.pause in case you want to debug. So all this we can do. So this is what we are doing here. We open Google, we accept cookie if it is shown, we search for Playwright Python, and then we check title Python is there, or the page to have title Playwright. Okay, now as I have told you that this is something we have created step by step, line by line, so that we understand the code. But later on, once you have understood the code and you know you can read the code, we can always take help from online resources or AI tools. So for example, if I just go to ChatGPT, I can say write a Playwright Pytest to go to google.com and check the title has Playwright, and you will see it will generate the test, and you can see this is exactly what we have done, almost similar. And now you can easily read this and understand this code. Okay, you can see all this, you can now read this and understand this, or you can also just go to Google and get any Pytest as per your need. Okay, and you can see all that is, this is coming in with some spaces, so all this is a part of the this function, which is a test, and because we have this test underscore in the name of this function, it will be considered a test in Pytest. Okay, so now next step is we have to run and verify. Now to run and verify we have several options. So let me show you. I can just say Pytest and then give the file name. So I can go here. Let me first make sure that I am in my Python environment. So I will say venv1, and this we have seen in the earlier session, how to create a Python environment and activate it, so that I will work on this environment only. Okay, and now I will say, let me say cls to clear, and I will say Pytest, and you can say pip list just to check Pytest and Playwright Pytest all are added here. So you can see Pytest Playwright is here. I will say Pytest and then the location. So this is under the tests location. I will say tests. I can press tab to autocomplete, and then I will say test. I will again press tab and it will automatically take this file, and I will hit enter, and it will check the function if it is having test underscore in the name, and will start running the function as a test. So see, it is checking and it will run, and it has executed and it has passed. So the assertion or the expected thing has passed, therefore it is saying one passed. And we did not see the browser coming up because by default it runs in a headless mode. If you want, you can add the option for headed mode. So let me show you that as well. I will press the up arrow to go back to the last command, and here I will say hyphen hyphen headed and hit enter, and this time you will see it will bring up the browser. So it opens the browser, goes to google.com, and yes, it was very fast. So you can see it has executed in a headed mode. And then we can have option to run with a particular browser. So you can select hyphen hyphen browser and say Chromium, which includes Chrome and Edge, or Firefox or WebKit. So let's say I will say something like this. I will say hyphen hyphen, you can say browser equals Chrome and then headed. You can say Edge or Firefox as well. I think it is, we have to say browser. I will say here, let me just clear the screen and I will press the up arrow. Yes, so I have to say here Chromium, and it will run with that browser, or I can say Edge or Firefox as well here. All right, now we can run in a headless or headed mode that we have already seen. By default it is headless, but we can say headed. So in headless mode, you will not see the browser, it will run in the background, but in a headed mode you will see the physical browser coming up. So sometimes if you want to save some memory, because whenever physical browser comes up it will consume some memory, so if you want to save that, you can go in a headless mode. Also sometimes if you are working on the same system where you are running your automation tests, and you don't want that while automation is running a browser will pop up every few seconds and it will do automation and will distract you from your work, you can again use headless mode, and it can be a little bit faster as well. Okay, now in case you want to capture screenshots, you can say hyphen hyphen screenshot equals on, which is off by default, and then we can use on, or we can also say only on failure. So let's say I will add hyphen hyphen screenshot equals on. Okay, and I will hit enter. I think I made some mistake here. Oh, okay, there was a typo. It is screenshot. So it is screenshot and on. So now this will also take the screenshot. And generally we may want to use screenshot on failure, but that's fine. You can see you will have a screenshot here. So in the test results, you can see here we have got the screenshot added, and you can also check this. This is the screenshot. I will press Control and minimize. Okay, so we can take screenshots. We can also record video. So by default it is off. We can say on, or retain on failure, on first try, or just make it on. So I will say I will also add video equals on and run it again. So it runs our test. Done. And now if you go to the test results, you can see we have also got this video recorded. If I do a right click and say reveal in file explorer, it will open the folder containing this file, and now I can run it. Let me use any uh, application like VLC should be good. So you can see this is our video of our test. Okay, so you can get the videos recorded as well, but of course video files are heavy files, and you may want to just record video in case you want to you want to check the execution for maybe some particular test, or only when there is a failure, or maybe on a first try. So accordingly you can check that, and by default it is off. Okay, and we can also generate a HTML report, but for that we need the Pytest HTML library. So if you want a HTML report, you can say pip install pytest-html, and it will install the library. Then you can say pip list and confirm that you have got the Pytest HTML here. And now along with the command, your normal command, you can now say --html and give the location of the file. If you directly give the location, it will go in the project folder. So I can say --html equals report1.html, or whatever you want. You can give the location and report name like this and hit enter, and this will now also generate a HTML report file for us. Okay, and if you see the report, yes, it is here. You can open it in a file explorer and then open it with any browser. So this will show you the report, and here you can see the Python version, the platform, operating system, packages it is using, the plugins. Okay, all these plugins it is using, base URL if you have set anything, and then you can see the details of the test. And of course, you, because it is passed, you are not seeing any logs. In case it fails, you will also see the logs here. So let us try that as well. I will make the test fail. I'm just adding something here to check which will not be there. Playwright 1 2 3 etc. Now this should fail. I will run the test again along with generating the report. Okay, and yes, this will fail. And now if I check this report, I will do a right click and say reveal in file explorer, and I will open this report now, and you can now see it has failed and also shows us the details. Okay, so it says it, if you see here, it will see you all the details and will say the session has failed. Okay, so this was expected and this has failed and it did not find this. Okay, so we can also get the reports generated, and then you can see a lot of other options. So here if you say pytest help, so let me show you in a expanded window. I will say pytest --help. So you will see all the options that you can use with pytest, and there are a lot of options. Some of these we have seen. So you can see the log level you can set. You can set the browser like this, we have already seen. You can set headed mode or not. We can also run in slow motion, and then you can also set max fail number, so exit after of the failure or errors are equal to this number. All this you can check. There are a lot of options and there are a lot of command line flags that you can use with this command. Okay, so here we started with from Playwright and we added the imported the libraries like expect and the regression regex libraries. Okay, and then we started by def test to define a pytest. We used the page fixture to load a web page and then use all the page functions, then get by role to interact with the elements, and there are so many other options. We used fill or press key to simulate user input, and then expect to add the assertions. Okay, so this is how we can create our first pytest in Playwright. I hope this was very useful. Please do hands on and let me know if you face any issues. I will see you in the next session. Thank you for watching and never stop learning.